Well, that horse has taken its final lick, at least for now, at least for me, and we're moving on. On this episode of From the Cheap Seats, we're going to talk about the Jets coming to the Nissan Stadium for our home opener. Is this a must-win for Will Levis already? Get in here. Welcome to From the Cheap Seats. Welcome, glad to have you. I'm Bonafide, and this is From the Cheap Seats, the show where we preview and recap all of the action from the Tennessee Titans season. Every week, we're going to be previewing and recapping the games as they happen. So let's not waste any more time, and let's get into this game preview that we're going to talk about the New York Jets. So we're coming off a loss, which should have been a victory. Again, I'm not going to beat that dead horse against the Bears, and we all know what happened. But now we got to turn the page. We got Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets coming to town. Now, they lost on Monday night to the 49ers. And Rodgers, to me, and we'll talk about this in a little bit later, he really showed that he hadn't really played in a year. But Denard Wilson said we are going to treat Rodgers like the Rodgers of old until he proves us otherwise. Now, and that's respect to the four-time NFL MVP. Now, he was 12 of 21 for like 167, and he had a touchdown, and he had an interception. Breece Hall was their leading rusher, but he had like a whopping 54 yards on 16 carries. Now, I know he had a TD, so it looked good at the beginning, but as the game went on, it was just apparent that they weren't going to be able to do anything on the ground against the 49ers. Lazard caught 2 touchdowns. Now, I know that sounds like, oh, what are you talking about? Offensive. He caught one, I think, in garbage time, and then he caught one from Aaron Rodgers on a garbage play. So, yeah, that's it. Now, the Jets defense, they were touted as pretty good. They did a pretty good job, but they were gashed. I mean, absolutely gashed for 147 yards and a touchdown by a backup undrafted free agent known as Jordan Mason, who was filling in for Christian McCaffrey, who basically right before the game was knocked out of the lineup. So yeah, so Jordan Mason came in, gashed him for 147 on the ground. Now, again, we got to take that with a grain of salt when you're looking at the Tennessee Titans, because the Niners have arguably one of the better offensive lines in the league. So yeah, and I get our line has improved, but we ain't got no Trent Williams on this team, at least not yet. You know, we got a Trench King in training. TKIT, and that's JC Latham. So, hey, we'll take that for what it is. Now, they got stars on both sides of the ball. Sauce Gardner, he's the lockdown corner. They got Williams. Now, so I do expect them to be licking their chops when they come down to Tennessee, because, you know, obviously you got your ego bruised on Monday Night Football. They're going to be looking to get on the winning track just like us. So, yeah. Now, it's supposed to be raining during the game, so I don't know if that's going to play a factor. I know it's supposed to start raining at the beginning of the game, but the temperatures, so it may have rain on and off, but I know the team's been practicing with wet balls all practice, this week, so they're probably looking forward to the rain, things like that. So I like our defense, especially with Sweat and Simmons in the middle, you know, so the law firm of Sweat and Simmons in the middle with Day and Ernest Williams, and the fact that Denard Wilson, I think it was Denard or Callie said that Ernest Jones is going to be playing a whole lot more, and that T'Vondre Sweat could have played more snaps. Now, he played 38 snaps last game, but he could play more snaps this game. So, you know, this might be a strength of ours going into the game. So, next segment, let's talk about who's in and who's out. So, looking at the injury report that just came out on Friday. Now, we looked at it Thursday, but it just came out on Friday right before I filmed this. Looks like we're going to be at full strength. There is no one listed as out on our injury report, which is, I know. If you've been with me long enough, you know that injury report last year used to look like a CVS receipt. You know, you could wrap that thing around your neck. But nobody's on it now. Nobody's on it. So I think earlier in the week, you know, we knew Radins had a rib injury, but it looks like that was fine. You know, Skoronski ended up on the report with the but the neck injury, but it was limited, but things like that. But nobody is listed. Even the one that the injury we all know about, you know, DeAndre Hopkins being injured with that MCL thing, which he kind of described more as like a sprain instead of a tear. So that kind of made me breathe a sigh of release, because it's like a sprain. So he's working through the pain, but Callie said he's gonna be like maybe, you know, 100% coming through. So, you know, we may see, you know, we're definitely gonna see D-Hop a little bit more in this game now, whether weather affects it or not, things like that. Now on the Jet side, I don't think they have a few people that are questionable. I think the guy Reed, I think that's one of the cornerbacks, and Kinlaw is you know, with the bicep. But for the most part, they're at full strength. None of the real impact players that you would consider on the Jet side are going to be injured. So looks like looks like it's going to be a relatively healthy game for both sides, and, you know, see how that plays into the part. So we're moving right along. We're about to get to our gridiron gambles and our game predictions. So if you're liking the content, hey man, make sure you lock in with us in this section, man. Make sure you get a seat in this section, and you can do that by subscribing to the channel. So go right down here, down right there. Yeah, it's underneath the title. Hit the subscribe button. It's going to do a little animation, and I'm gonna get notified, and I greatly appreciate it. All right. So let's get ready for our Gridirons Gamble. This segment is sponsored by Music City Bets on Twitter, man. You got to follow them at Music City Bets on X for all of your daily betting insights on your favorite Nashville teams. I'm talking about the Preds, the Titans, or if you're just looking for expert plays, they got you covered, all right? So get ahead of the game with the best tips and odds and follow them now. All right, so backed by popular demand, we are rolling again, season 2 of the Gridirons Gambles. But I got a twist for you. So this year, I am going to be starting a bankroll with Hard Rock Bet, because we can bet now here in Florida with Hard Rock Bet. It's the only legal sports bet I got. So hey man, cut me some slack. So we're gonna be rolling with them. I'm starting with a bankroll of $300. $300, nice little bankroll. And I am going to be rolling with the Titans plays that Music City Bets gives me throughout the season. And we're gonna track my wins and my losses for the entire season. So hey man, so let's win some money. So the Titans play of the day for Sunday's game is Tony Pollard over 50.5 yards rushing. Now you keep hearing me talk about the weather, so the weather is definitely gonna play a factor in the game. So if you wanna roll with me, go to your favorite sports book. I'm gonna be on Hard Rock Bet. I'm gonna be playing this. We don't know the amount. I guess next week I'll tell you what amounts I'm gonna. But I'm thinking I'm gonna go a little crazy. Maybe stick $25 on this one. So you gotta check. You gotta tune into the recap video to see if I won any money. All right. So in this section, we're gonna call Bonafide Thoughts. These are my thoughts, you know, that I think about for the game coming up, and what I say. And the things that I'm thinking about right now is does Aaron Rodgers still have it? Now, stick with me here, all right? Now, so I was watching the 49ers game, mainly because it was the Monday night game and nothing else was on, and partially I wanted to see if Aaron Rodgers was gonna last longer than 4 snaps, and obviously, because we played him next. I'm playing a fake scout, all right? Now, throughout the game, I was looking, I said to myself, man, if he kind of looks old, or like, man, normally he would have kind of like extended the play a little bit more and try to move around to avoid that, you know, and it just didn't. Now, Aaron and I, full disclosure, are the same age. I'm 40, he's 40. And now, while we have seen in recent history, the GOAT, Tom Brady, play at a high level past 40, the Niners got to him a few times. They hit him a few times. They only sacked him once, but they hit him a few times, and I feel like that interception was due to the pressure from the defensive line getting through and causing him to rush that throw. He really looked mad rusty, if you really want to think about it. Looked mad rusty. So, and that should have been expected because he's coming off almost not playing for a year. But the Jets are coming to town again, what we consider on a short week, and moving forward, they're going to be on a short week for the next game because they play on Thursday nights following that. So, you know, I don't know. Like I said, Denard said we're going to treat him like the Aaron Rodgers, the 4-time NFL MVP, the Super Bowl winning quarterback that he is until he shows us otherwise. But I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good strategy to have, because even in that game we watched, and I say he was old, the hard count still works. And those quick free plays that he likes to get off still work because he got a touchdown off of one of the quick free plays. And, you know, it still works. So he's not limited. So he's still dangerous. Even in his old age, he's still dangerous. So I'm wondering if this is a sign to come. Maybe I'm looking into it anymore, but this is just some of my thoughts that I'm having here. All right, so wrapping this thing up, we're gonna talk about the game prediction. Now, I asked the question in the intro, was this a must-win game for Will Levis? And now, I know fans will have a penchant to overreact, and I am one of those fans. I'm talking to myself here. But I'm kind of like 50-50 on this. And now, while it's too early to kind of say that this is a must-win game in the season to make the playoffs, things like that, Will Levis has to show that he can actually run this offense the way Brian Callahan is intending for this offense to run. He has to be able to use the weapons, make smart decisions, lead scoring drives, and then once he does it, he has to continue to keep doing this. So he has to continue to show us, you know, game after game that he is moving in the positive. Like I said last week, last week it's in the trash, it's in the, you know, we flushed it down the toilet, but it still left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. The thing about it is that he's got to do that because even though we only remember the bad things, there were some good things that he did in there. The throw to Chig was a good throw. That laser beam to Ridley for a first down was a good throw. I think the Titans were like in top 10 in explosive plays. Yes, in explosive plays, but passing and offense was down as general. So again, take that with a grain of salt. But we were in top 10 in explosive plays. So there are some good things that can happen in here. So, you know, I'd like to see him, you know, straighten the thing. Now, I'm pretty confident the defense is going to do their job. And I'm hopeful that special teams doesn't collapse like it did last week. But ultimately, it kind of lies on Will. He's the starting quarterback, and he's going to be judged harshly, whether fair or not, on how he performs this weekend and moving forward. So with all that being said, my prediction for the game is that it's probably going to be affected by the weather. And Callie already mentions this in one of his pressers, that split between Tony and Tajay, he wasn't really happy with it. So I think Tony and Tajay, aka TNT, will see an uptick in their involvement in the offense this week. And I think screens are going to be a big factor in that too. I personally would like to see the trio of Hop, Ridley, and Boyd get more involved in the game. I think, you know, they need to be featured more prominently. But again, weather, wet ball, raining, we got to see what's going on. I think even in the wet weather that our defense is going to do well again, especially if Wilson is followed by Snead. But again, last week we didn't do that too much, but you know, maybe different weeks, different strategies for that. So I think this week we come away with a better taste in our mouth, and this week we beat the Jets 27-20. It's gonna be a high scoring game. No, we're not gonna break 30, but I feel like, you know, we're going to have some opportunities to score, and we're going to take advantage of it, especially being a home opener and getting hyped for the crowd, things like that. So that is our preview for the Jets game. We're going to wrap this up. So in addition to our weekly preview videos that we do and our recap video, we're going to be doing something here new on Section 240. We are going to be live streaming. Now, we're not going to live stream the game, but we're going to have a live stream on YouTube Live, and we calling it Come Rock With Your Boy on Live from the Section. All right? So we're going to root for the Titans together. We're going to be here. Come and join the chat. Come watch the game. You know you don't really like the commentators that much anyway, especially if it's a nationally televised game. Come on in here with your boy, rock with us, kick it with us while we're out here, while we live stream the games, get us our live reactions. Like, hey, you were going to do it on the couch anyway. Instead of screaming into the void, you can do it with me here on YouTube Live. All right, so don't forget, keep your notifications up. We're going to be sharing that here soon. So make sure you follow me on Twitter. That way you can get the notification when we're going live. Don't forget to check out the website. Get your merch from www.section240.com. And don't forget, we are less than 120 subscribers away from doing our first giveaway, and that is a Oilers throwback jersey, 1K. Once we hit 1K, we give them a giveaway. So you just gotta be a subscriber. Again, we're almost close, so we're about to be doing this very soon. So make sure you're locked in with us. Make sure you're sharing. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're telling all your fellow Titans friends about the channel so we can grow this community, man. And hopefully this weekend will be a better weekend for us than it was last weekend. So, like I always say, There's plenty of room in the section for us all. Tighten up.